everybody. Trying to get everybody all hello from NYC. So hi everybody. Hey, it's Kelly Miller. If you've never done a Q&A before, this one's pretty easy going. So all you have to do is just ask any questions that might come to your mind. Now, I won't be doing any personal readings on this platform, but this is just more for any questions that you might have as far as like metaphysical, spiritual, maybe crystals, maybe what's happening to you and you don't quite know what's going on. So this is pretty informal if you've never been to a Q&A of mine. I'll be doing a lot more Q&As, especially next year. So next year I'll be doing more Q&As on like a YouTube platform, Instagram, Facebook, all those things. I'll be trying out some TikTok stuff. I'm not that good at TikTok, but I'm still learning. My kids are teaching me. So it's a little weird. But if you guys have any questions at all, you'll notice that there is a chat bar, and all you have to do is just ask any questions that might come to mind. But let me see. The biggest thing is that Venus is officially kind of retrograde, and Venus usually goes retrograde for about 5 weeks. And when that goes retrograde, usually people, if they're in a solid relationship, it's going to get good. But if they're in a karmic one, ooh, it's going to get a little feisty. So a lot of times when Venus goes retrograde, we see breakups and shakeups. So we see them a lot, actually. So, but if you're in a soulmate relationship, a lot of times it'll really bring out the things that might be wrong within yourself, not so much with the other person, and things that you need to kind of fix about yourself. So the energy here this month of December has not been easy. I think January is going to be a little bit easier, hopefully, but we'll just kind of play it by ear. It depends on all the solar flares, if we might have them or not. I'm going to have to start using my other camera. So, let's see here. No, Anne, I really don't see any other foreign conflicts in America. We have our own conflicts. So I think there's going to be a lot more civil unrest, but nothing too crazy, but a lot more civil unrest. And the main reason why is because the indigos, the intuitive indigos, or the people that are kind of like me, we're here to kind of shake up that system a little bit, and it's already starting to get shook up. So I'm probably guessing that it's going to get shook up a little bit more here this next year. But in order for things to change for the positive, sometimes those old systems need to kind of get destroyed. So that very well could be happening. Let's see. What's the ringing in the left ear? So the left ear is almost always loved ones, things like that. If they're both, sometimes that's like a geomagnetic storm, a solar flare, some sort of a shift. So the low pitch right is usually going to be your spirit guides. The high pitch on the right is going to be angels. So low pitch, high pitch. Low pitch is spirit guides. High pitch is usually angels on that right side. Right side is the intuitive side. Left side's logical. So how do you know if you're in a stage 5? Because you know who you are. You know what your purpose is. You do your life purpose exclusively. And you treat everybody like they're your brother or your sister, no matter how bad they hate you. So saging in a dream means that you need to literally get rid of the negativity in your life. So it means that you just need to start clearing out the negativity. So meaning that you already know what you need to do. It's time to do it. It's just time to do it. Let's see. Travis says he's been awakened by a familiar voice many over the years when nobody's around. Recently become aware of my spirituality, third eye. So Travis, that what you're hearing, which if you're hearing something, that means that you're naturally clairaudient, which is the ability to hear spirit. And a lot of times we don't hear them necessarily in our ears. We kind of hear them in our head. And a lot of times when they first start, sometimes it sounds like our own voice in our head, but it's not, but it feels really familiar. Those most than likely are going to be your spirit guides. So spirit guides are very familiar, and you're like, I know you, but I don't know you, but man, you feel really familiar to me. So that's almost always a spirit guide. So feeling energetically drained, any advice to feel better? A lot of us are, especially with digestion. So, and I've been telling people on my ground, which I'm fully aware of how difficult it is to ground when it's really cold outside, but try to ground as best you can and rest. We've had a lot of super mega shifts here in December. And so you need to rest. And so that's literally what I did. I mean, I worked today a little bit on my computer, but for the most part, I stayed at home. I chilled. So I'm not going to sit there and press myself the month of December with all these shifts that have been happening. So the biggest thing is just take your time, just rest and rehydrate and make sure that you're eating really good food. How do I protect a child from dark spirits and dreams? Dream catchers really do work. Make sure that you sage the area pretty well and make sure that his bed is not in a corner. So corners hold a lot of residual energy and they're like mini pyramids. So they amp energy as well. So best not to put a kid's head in a corner, especially a naturally intuitive one. So vivid dreams due to the full moon. Yep, absolutely. A lot of people's dreams have been very intense lately, and a lot of subconscious stuff has been coming to the surface. A lot of times during these periods when it's like this, you will also there's a lot of spiritual stuff going on right now. So a lot of people are going through awakenings. A lot of people, unfortunately, are going to be crossing over. There's a lot of birth and death right now as well. So there's kind of, we see these shifts every once in a while where there's kind of a mass exodus. And I said that about 2-3 weeks ago, that there's going to be kind of a mass exodus. So if they're not meant to go through a spiritual awakening, then they're going to go home. So, you're going to see a lot of people going home here pretty soon. Let's see. Oh, my cat. Yeah, I have a black cat. And we have really dark floors, which makes it almost impossible to see that sucker unless he like shows up and then freaks us all out. So yeah. Let's see here. Any idea how to better ground myself the next time a huge chaotic storm comes like this? Oh, I will tell you. I had to get out my grounding mat. So grounding mat is mostly made up of shungite, and then you plug it in to the grounding part of your outlet. It really helps a lot. Honestly, I slept with mine. I sleep with it like kind of like a heat mat, kind of sort of. A lot of times I'll put it underneath my butt when I'm working on my laptop as well to kind of help keep me focused. So I use my grounding mat a lot. I also have a grounding pendant. Now we're out of a mat awakenings, but that's another avenue that you can also be using, which is called, like I said, a grounding pendant. And then any black or red crystals. I've been taking a lot of sea salt baths as well, just to kind of keep my aura and my chakras just kind of balanced out, because like I said, this energy hasn't been easy at all. It hasn't been. So, I mean, I'm struggling too with you guys. So if I'm struggling, I know that you guys are too, but like I said, a lot of this is just the shifts. That's all it is. So like I said, take your time. Like I said, it's kind of nice that it's a holiday. So we all get to chill out and eat and be with family. Let's see here. No, you can never be stuck in a stage. Dawn, I'll tell you, I was in stage 4 for 3.5 years. I was in a stage 3 for a little longer because I was a stubborn learner. Let's see. Does being awakened mean it's your last life? No, not at all. So not at all. Ultimately, you want to go through a spiritual awakening. So ultimately, that's the goal. That's the goal of incarnating here into Earth. So that does not mean that's the case. Let's see. I had a dream I was shot on my birthmark located on my back. Any thoughts? Moon fun? That very well could be a past life. But how you died in a past life impeding in on this life. So that very well could be exactly how it happened. So I do not want to come back. Hey, me either, sister. Can I just come back as a spirit guide? Like, it would be so much easier, right? So, Tim, how are you? Good to see you. Think my spiritual awakening really matured, repeating numbers. That's right. So you are at a stage 3. So there's 5 different stages. And stage 3 is when we begin to really see the replicating numbers, and you will see replicating numbers every day for the rest of your life. So you're really, really well. Let's see. My aura is pale blue tonight. It's a little different. Eric and I have been spending a lot of time with family. His mom has been entered into hospice care. So we're just kind of gathering near and helping out the family the best that we can right now. So that's why I had to cancel that live sale. And so we're just going to kind of play it by ear. But yeah, I've been kind of a little quiet, but that's just because I want to be available to help just in case. So let's see. Do crystals need to be worn a while before they start working? No, not at all, Jen. Not at all. You can start using those right off the bat. So absolutely not. And a lot of times, like for instance, if you get your crystals at awakenings, we sage like every night before we all go to bed. So if you get those crystals, a lot of times you'll be able to use them right off the bat. So You don't have to really wait for them. Sometimes if you want to, we want to wait until the full moon to charge our crystals. But in the meantime, if we just had a full moon. So instead of waiting another month, just get a piece of selenite. Selenite will help to charge those crystals up as well. So if you're enlightened, do you reincarnate when you die? That is optional. And remember, you choose to reincarnate. You really do. So we have free will on the other side, just as we do here. And that's really your option. So please just any good crystals for snoring husband. Yeah, just throw them at him. No, I'm kidding. Usually, believe it or not, anything for that throat chakra. So blue lace agate is probably going to be the best one for that. Sodalite might be a pretty good second. Any suggestions on? I don't know. I think you must have misused that word. I don't know what you mean by that. Let's see here. Best way to get ego aside to hear spirit, Nanette, meditate. Meditate. And I will tell you, meditation is not easy. I know it's not, but I don't want you to sit there and expect to think of absolutely nothing. It's not going to happen. It will not happen. You're going to sit there for the first minute and you're going to be like, I got this. And then in about a minute in, you're going to be like, ah, crap, I forgot to something. And I just want you to sit there and you'll be able to remember it when you're done. But sit there for, when you first start, don't sit there more than 10 minutes because it's going to piss you off. And there's no point in getting all mad and trying to meditate. You're not going to want to do it. So your job is just to sit there 5-10 minutes, sit, chill. That's it. That's all your job is. Because after a while, and you'll notice as soon as 2 weeks even, after a bit, you're going to start to notice how you react or respond differently. And then you'll start to notice that not only are you responding differently, that you have a little bit more patience, you have a little bit more control over your thoughts, so they're not so rampant. So like I said, meditate is baseline foundation for any psychic abilities at all, any. So let's see. Do animals have ascension symptoms? No, but they absolutely feel the shifts. So, I mean, they really do. Cats are so subtle, you don't always notice, but dogs you can. So my friend told me about moon water. Yeah, you can make moon water with a new moon as far as like new beginnings. You can make it on a full moon when you want introspection, more spiritual connection. So I did a video here on YouTube. You can go back and watch it on my channel all about moon water. So, but yeah, I like making moon water. So my kids like it too. And I usually get like a little tiny bit of it and then it's gone. They're like, that was great. I'm like, yeah. So let's see. Starting to see little flashes of light from my eyes. Is that from meditation? It's not necessarily from meditation. It's just more or less that your clairvoyance is beginning to kick in. So usually when your clairvoyance starts kicking in, we see things up to the corner of our eyes. That's almost always when we begin to see things. And then we'll also notice like the sky kind of moves a little bit, or you start to see kind of auras around people, things like that. So mesmerizing reflections. Yes, we do sell grounding mats at Awakenings. Yep, we sure do. I finally found a brand that wholesales at a decent price. Usually those grounding mats will run you $100, $150, $200. And I couldn't sell them for that. So I finally found a decent grounding mat that works really well that I use, like I said, all the time. So I like using grounding mats in the wintertime. I really do. Either that, or if you can't afford a grounding mat, go in your basement. So basements are grounding, and then make sure that you eat your root vegetables. Anything that you pull out of the ground, like carrots or potatoes, those are grounding as well. Let's see. High vibration crystal in Florida had to leave for a few minutes, going back in. Was the full moon and all the shifts? It very well could have been the store itself. So there's a lot of different reasons, but it very well, like I said, could have been the crystal or the store itself. So, yep. Tarot card exercises. Am I going to do a class on tarot? I'm going to, I believe I have that one scheduled in like April or May. So if I remember right, I have it scheduled. So yes. And I'll tell you, I use tarot cards all the time with my readings. So I've been doing that. I've been doing it that way for 10 years and it ain't going to change now. So the cards never lie. They don't. So, but I like the precision of them, because if I know that you're going to have a bump into pretty soon, well, I want to know, is it 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks away? Like soon in their world is totally different than here. So I like that precision. I really do. Sue, I'm a counselor of individuals with skits and feel as though at least one gentleman may have spiritual guides and not be hearing voices. I will tell you that schizophrenics and I only have one thing different. And I'll tell you that schizophrenics drowned in the waters that I float in. So I'm in my positive there and they're negative. I'm enlightened, they're not. So I hear voices, I see things, I hear people tell me to do things too, but that doesn't make me schizophrenic. But in a counseling session, it would. So, but I see that a lot, and that's why I'm like going, they're just drowning in the same waters that I happen to be floating in. So there is not a lot of difference. There's not. So let's see. Any thoughts on Bell's palsy? Usually Bell's, Roy, is for me going to be more autoimmune. So, which I'll talk to you about that when I see you. Anna, a lot of times, Anna, that one is lack. She's asking any spiritual meaning for hair loss. A lot of times that has to do with the lack of self-confidence. And usually people that have that lack of self-confidence or solar plexuses are shot. And 9 times out of 10, when it comes to a girl, a dad's job is to help fill them with self-confidence. That's their job. And if you have a dad abandonment issue, or dad wasn't there for you growing up, or dad was a workaholic, well, you're going to have those issues. So Maria, that one to me is autoimmune, chronic myelogenic leukemia. To me, that's an autoimmune issue. So you have to have 2 viral diseases in order to spin off an autoimmune. At least that's how I see it. Meaning that if you have, say, mono as like a 20-year-old, and then mono as a 20-year-old, and then say you get, I don't know, COVID. If you get COVID, and then 2 years after you happen to have COVID, that's when these onset of symptoms begin. So for me, that's autoimmune. So same with lupus, that's autoimmune to me. So, and the biggest thing is that autoimmune just means that the body is a self-regulating mechanism, but the body would never go into disease if you were happy. So people that go under an enormous amount of stress have the tendency to get sick. So that's why, because they're constantly stressed out. They're constantly on pins and needles. And when I ask somebody like that, well, what makes you happy? They can't answer that because they're self-sacrificing for everybody else. And I'm like, so when are you going to start working on you? When are you going to be happy? And I'll tell you, when people are on their deathbed, they regret stuff like that for not living their lives for themselves. Instead, they were living up to the expectation or obligation of everybody else. That's not how you live life. That's not how you become happy. That's not how you become healthy. That's not. You have to be able to say no. You have to be able to put up boundaries to negative people. You've got to be willing to just do what you want to with your life, despite anybody else's opinion, including your own mom. So like I said, do you really think my mother was all happy about me becoming a psychic medium off the bat? Absolutely not. But I was going to do it anyway because I don't need my mom's permission. I'm a grown-ass woman. So that's one that I really, it's really difficult for my empaths to really truly understand that. And that's where I'm going to ask you, what makes you happy? It's time for you to be happy. And if they're not going to be happy for you, they shouldn't be around you ever. So that's where that boundary goes up. You ain't going to be happy for me. You ain't part of my team, period. So, because I will cheer for you, but if you ain't going to cheer for me, why am I going to waste my time? Why am I? That ain't a friendship. That ain't a friendship. So that's why I'm like going, no, be happy. Life's too short. Be happy. Like I said, and that's not easy. When I sit there and say, okay, what makes you happy? And you're like, wow. And if I say, what makes you unhappy? So I'm like, no, what makes you happy? That's where I want you focusing, which is, like I said, that's not easy when you're not in that normal mindset. You're welcome, Mike. What's the best stone for a toddler to use? Whatever one they're attracted to. I will tell you, kids know what they need. Kids know. So if a kid hands you a crystal and says you need it, take it. You do. So kids will go into the crystal store and they'll be like, I want this and this. And they know, and they'll grab it. And then I'm like, ow, he must still wet the bed. And they're like, how do you know that? I'm like, because he grabbed jade. So jade helps kids for wetting the bed. So I notice patterns. And so it's amazing to me how kids, they know exactly the crystal that they need. So like I said, just let them pick it. And you can even tell a kid, which one's the best one for me? They're like, this one. And they make it so simple. You're like, well, there's a whole store here. And they're like, nope, this one. And they're right. And they're right. So best stone for anxiety, I like lepidolite, and I like amethyst for that one. Jamie, my niece now has fevers, pulmonary hypertension. So I will tell you, Jamie, she needs to deal with her abandonment issue, most likely by her biological father. That's probably going to be my guess, is where a lot of her issues reside, and she's got to learn to let it go. That's not easy. So do you see a cure for thyroid issues? Yeah, speak your truth. Speak your truth. And speaking your truth simply means saying, no, I don't want to do that for you. I'm tired. And no, I don't want to do that for you because you don't do anything for me in return. So, and that also includes telling your mother, no, I'm not going to help you. I got 3 kids that I'm trying to raise. I don't want to. So call the other sister. Like I said, thyroid issues is simple. You don't speak your truth. You bite your tongue too much. You're like, I want to say something, but I'm like, no, say it. So don't let somebody trample all over you. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a way to say it with grace and dignity. There is a way to do that. You don't have to be a snot rag bee about it, but at the same time, speak your truth. Speak your truth. So I will tell you, the minute I learned how to speak my truth, my whole world changed because I put me first. I put me first, and I put my kids right next to me as first place. So, and once I did that, I realized how alone I really was. But I did have the friends that I needed to be next to me were next to me, and the ones that weren't left. Bye. Let's see. How do you know when you to move on from one crystal to another in bracelets? Oh, doesn't matter. So I will tell you today, I don't even have any on. So like I said, I don't have any crystals on today. Don't need any. So I would just go with whatever floats your boat for that day. You can't really, you can mix and match them however you want to. It really doesn't matter. So if your crystal breaks or you lose it, that means that you no longer need that particular crystal. So right hip pain, Carolyn, it is because you don't want to move forward by either changing your job or your relationship. So a lot of times when I see right hip pain in older ladies, it's because they know damn well that they need to retire, but they don't want to do it because they're scared of the money. So 9 times out of 10, that's almost always where it's at. Let's see here. I spoke my truth and now she won't even talk to me over a box. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Like I said, nope, bye-bye. If they want to be mad at that, that means that tell me that either A, they're a control freak, B, that they're a narcissist, or C, they should have never been in your life anyway because they really don't care. They want you for what you can give them. They don't want you because they love you. There's a big difference in that. And I think a lot of people think that, well, it's family. You need to be nice to family. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's no different than somebody at the Christmas party. They're like, oh, well, you know, don't be near, you know, Uncle Dan over there. You know, he gets a little feely. Who the freak is inviting Uncle Dan to the party then? Like, I don't understand why people continue to do that in their families. They know that they have a child molester in the family, but yet he's still going to come to Christmas dinner. What? No, they don't get invited. So, and if that's your child that was molested, you don't go to the party. So it amazes me how people will not respect themselves or their children enough not to put themselves in those type of situations. So, and if somebody, again, has a problem with it, it's their problem. So your job as a mother is to protect your children from anybody negative, including your own mother. So I don't understand this whole concept of, but they're still family. Not if they're toxic. That ain't a family. So no. 12-year-old daughter says she has deja vu a lot. I bet so. Samantha, that just means to tell me that she is very precognitive. So she is seeing those things in a dream state. And when they happen, she's remembering them subconsciously. That's why it gets really weird. So I asked for that to be just like done. Blah, I hate that. So, because mine lasts a half a day and it's never anything exciting. It's always something stupid like, ooh, hand me the water. Ooh, deja vu. Never anything like lottery numbers. So that's precognition is tough to develop. I know naturally intuitive people have an easier time with that. I know that if you meditate, you probably get that. The other thing is that I would tell you maybe ask God before you go to bed at night for that ability to kind of turn on. So I bet that would probably happen. Any suggestion on connecting with spirit guide and or intuition, Katrina? Yeah, ask them to come through in a dream state. They will introduce themselves. They really will. So, and you'll look at them and you'll be like, I know you, but I don't know you, but you're real familiar. Like, have we met? So, or they're going to feel like you just met your soulmate. You're going to be like, oh my God, that guy's hot. Holy moly. So that's going to be that guy. So, or girl, whichever. But that's the biggest thing is that ask them to come through in a dream state. They will, or ask them to come through in a meditation. So there's a lot of guided meditations out there that you can use on YouTube to be able to also meet those spirit guides as well. So I check those out. So Monica, anything for the solar plexus. So anything yellow for you is going to be able to help you with that self-confidence. Let's see here. I can't remember my dreams. Ask before you go to bed. So ask God to show them to you before you go to bed. But a lot of times if you're just tired, you're just tired. So what does it mean when I saw repeating numbers before very frequently, but they've slowed down? Maria, that's okay. So I'll tell you, there's some days that I see tons of replicating numbers and other days, hardly any at all. So just understand that once you go through your awakening, you never get tapped out. You never do. But there's some times where you feel like you're not getting any signs and you're not getting anything at all. And whenever that happens, that means to tell me that your reality has to take precedence over your spirituality. So meaning that you got drama going on in your life and you need to fix it. So that way you can get back tapped in. How do senses seem to be more heightened when we are sick? Corey, that's true. And the reason why is because your body is in disarray. Same with you go into a strange place with strange people, your aura is going to go way out in order to protect you. So the biggest auras are on pregnant women because they have a sixth sense, that spidey sense on a pregnant woman, wicked. So wicked. I did not enjoy being pregnant because of that reason. So, but most pregnant women have a huge, thick, like tough aura. And that's how I can usually tell that they are pregnant. But their aura is meant to protect them. That's why. So, and that's like I said, I go into strange places, strange people. I do sometimes have those social anxiety or those panic attacks. And I'll tell you, it's because my auric field goes out far enough to protect me, but then anybody who comes in that auric field, I'm feeling their energy and then I feel weird. So a lot of times, I'll believe it or not, I'll take my mom. I'm like, Mom, can you go shopping with me? Now my son is 16 and he has the same issue. So it's not fun going shopping with him because nobody can ground us. So it's not that good. Left hip pain means that you are having issues with like working on your creativity, musical endeavors, or your intuition. So almost always, or it has to do also with your mother or working through issues with your mother. So how does reincarnation and incarnation align with creation and Christianity? It does, but it doesn't. I mean, that's your own personal belief, I guess. I think that everybody has been through reincarnation. I think that if you go through a spiritual awakening in this lifetime, you don't have any karmic debt from any of your previous reincarnations or previous lives. For the simple fact that you wouldn't go through an awakening if you did have that debt. So, but like I said, to me, I think it's Christianity is the only place I think mostly that doesn't believe in reincarnation. Most other religions do. So, Um, Causes of cyst in brain, Maria, control. Somebody who has like OCD, control, perfectionism, that's all brain stuff. So, let's see. Sue is asking, researching empaths. What makes me happy is helping those that are deserving support to find. Am I struggling because I'm selling myself short? No, because when you go through an awakening, the first thing you feel the need to do is help humanity or people or animals or the environment in some way, shape, or form. So usually a little bit later is when that purpose is going to kind of fall out. But I tell people in this stage, just follow that curiosity. If it seems interesting to you, there's a reason. Just go to it. Now, it might not be that purpose, but it is the next step to get you to that life purpose. So follow your curiosity. How do you remedy PTSD like anxiety? PTSD is a tricky one. And I teach my students that, we don't want to open up Pandora's box. So usually for PTSD, I'm going to recommend counseling. Honestly, that's the best way to do it. And I really think the VA has really honestly stepped up their programs when it comes to PTSD and things like that. And I think it's a little bit more acceptable now in our society, because back in the days, guys didn't do that. We got to shove that stuff down. And I think that they're realizing, no, this is a problem. So I would highly suggest counseling for PTSD. I really would, because that's about the only thing that really is going to fix that, because you don't want to just rip that Band-Aid off quick. That's too much for a soul. So we want to peel off those layers. So we want to go real slow on that. Exercises for a 7-year-old that's very connected. She feels that she's alone all the time, Anna. As long as she has one parent to kind of really listen to her and be there for her, it's okay. I will tell you, some of the most intuitive children I have met have a hard time fitting in. I fit in with everybody, but didn't belong to anybody. So I did. I had a lot of wonderful friends in high school, but I never really felt like I fit in. I always felt like a weird little outcast. So, which is pretty normal. I know my daughter experiences the same thing. So, as long as they have a really good household and they feel secure in that household, that's really going to help out. Let's see. The daughter wants to know the name of the metaphysical book. It is Metaphysical Anatomy by Yvette Rose. So that's a great book. Let's see. What do I think about ayahuasca? My husband has tried it. For me, I'm like, what do I need to do that for? I'm already there. So he said that it really strips you down. So a lot of people go in thinking, oh, I can handle it. If you're a regular meditator and you've been working on your shadow side or doing the shadow work, I think you're probably ready for it. But I think a lot of people go in too soon, and it's pretty intense. So it's really intense. It shows you what you need to see, not what you want, but what you need. And I think that's part of the illusion of them thinking, oh, it's just going to be this fun little trip. I'm like, no, it is going to beat you 8 ways from Sunday, and it's going to have you sit in it for a bit. So that's what I always tell people. A stage 4 is a really good time maybe to try that out, but at a stage 3, I think it's too early. So it's pretty, from what I understand, a very intense experience. So let's see. What does tailbone pain mean? Mindy, literally, somebody is a pain in your ass. So you keep saying somebody's a pain in your ass, pain in your ass. So, and most unlikely it has to do with money and finances. Significance of feeling buzzing at the top of the head. Your crown chakra is opening. So that's the crown chakra opening up. So when it opens, you get kind of a buzz or a hum, or sometimes it feels like you have lice in your hair. So that's sometimes it, or it itches like crazy. So a lot of times before I go on stage, I'll be in the back. I'm like really like itching my hair because my crown goes open really hard. So how do I know if I'm ready for an awakening? Monica, if you're watching me and I don't annoy you, then you're already going through an awakening. How about that? Because I annoy the unenlightened. I really piss them off, actually. So because I vibe high, they vibe low. So I irritate them. So cockroaches don't like light. So I'm sure all these wives are looking at their husbands going, see, that's why you don't like her. See, cockroach. No, kidding, kidding. Let's see. I thought I had worked through some shadow work, but feeling like I'm back at square one. You know what, Cassandra? That is totally normal. It is normal to feel like you're at a stage 5, and then you slide down to a 2, and then you go back up to a 4, and then you go ghetto, like all unenlightened, like, let's go. Like, yeah, we do that. It's normal. So what do I think as DMT as a treatment? I think it is a wonderful treatment for people with depression. I do. I think that's great. So I think mushrooms are great for people with depression. I really do. No, I'm not a doctor. Can't be saying that. So don't take my advice, blah, blah, blah. But I think that is very possible. So, and I think that's why Oregon is really kind of opening up the doors to that. That helps. I piss people off for no good reason. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, I will look at people and they're just like, what? And I'm like, oh, wow, you're one of them. Okay. Flying above in the sky, meaning that's just escaping reality. So making that's just escaping reality, basically put. Stones for neuropathy, Tara, I think that's chrysocolla, jade, golden healer, and I think I want to say clear quartz on that one too. Melinda, let's see here. What kind of crystals for working on spending? Anything money is jade, pyrite, fool's gold, believe it or not, pyrite, jade, and citrine and green aventurine are my top 4 for those. So what's the metaphysical meaning of ADHD? Hey, BC, we're twinsies. So I actually have ADHD pretty bad. What's the metaphysical meaning? I will tell you some of the most intuitive people I have met are ADD, ADHD, and autistic. So we're attention dialed into a higher dimension. Things to help with social anxiety, black rocks all the way. So lots of black rocks. Significant owls, those are messengers. It means that you are tapped in spiritually speaking, and you're vibing. That owls is a good thing. That's a messenger from the other side saying, hey, we got you. We got you. Christianity, to believe in reincarnation until Emperor Constantine converted Christianity in 380. That is actually true. That's true, Lucina. Mm-hmm. Because Constantine decided to really take all different forms of religion and put it into one. So he decided to do that just because it would make everybody more uniform, more universal. So I've been attracted to blue kyanite, blue lab, and aquamarine. What does that mean? Melinda, that's all about tapping in more to that higher dimension. That's more of psychic abilities, opening up the third eye and the throat, and keeping those a little bit more stable. So that's what those are for. So just remember, crystals can help to open up and stabilize chakras. They can also help to close them kind of down. So sometimes like for instance, if a girl is an overtalker, oversharer, their throat chakra is open too far. So a lot of times if we get a crystal, we can actually control that a little bit more. So remember, y'all get too much, too little. So Tammy, how do I get my info? Believe it or not, a lot of times I ask weird, stupid questions before I go to bed, and I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning with an answer. And if I don't get it at 3 o'clock in the morning, within 24 hours, I get it somehow. So whether I hear 2 people talking about it, or it comes across my Facebook feed, or I get an email or something. So it always seems to just, I don't know, I just ask and then I get answers. Suggestion on how to make 2022 an amazing year. You know, I've been saying this a lot, but be more selfish. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to help Grandpa cross the street. But I've gotten better with saying, you know what? No, I don't want to go do that, because actually I want to go do this instead. So the other thing that I've been telling people too is make sure you have your goals. Make sure you know what it is that you want. And I'm not talking long-term goals. I think people a lot of times forget about those short-term goals. Where do you see yourself in 6 months? What do you want to accomplish? Where do you see yourself in a year from now? Where could you go? What could you get? What could you do that's going to make you happy, not what's going to make your mommy proud of you, not what you can do for your children, not what you can do for your husband. What can you do for you? And that's really difficult for an empath to answer. It really is, because an empath will self-sacrifice for everybody and forget about themselves. And if the spotlight goes on to that empath, they're like, nope, nope. And they're like, no, let's look at this over here instead. Let's not look at me. So I always tell people, I'm like, you should have short-term goals. You really should. So, because besides, how are your spirit guides supposed to guide you if you don't even know what it is that you want? You got to know what it is that you want, basically put. So I'm waking up every night between 2 and 3. Most people wake up between 2 and 4 a.m. So at least once. And usually it's pretty significant. We'll wake up at 3, 3:11, 3:33, 2:22, 4:44. So really common. So at least for enlightened people. Unenlightened people, it's not. And it's really common for enlightened people to sleep 4 to 5 hours a night and call it good. Will meditation cure anxiety? Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Believe it or not, it will. Tim, you are an empath. Yeah. What does the spiritual meaning all over the body aches and pains? Kendra, I've been having the same thing. And that it could be autoimmune maybe, but I think with all these shifts, it has just really affected almost like our bones. So I know that the sun, especially next year, they're going to be feisty. So we're going to have a lot more probably solar flares, a lot of more geomagnetic storms. I think the sun's going to get a little bit more feisty. And so we're going to have a lot more shifts. But these shifts are definitely going to open up that third eye and that crown. And so we're all going to be la, la, la. So whenever we have shifts like that, we all get in car accident because nobody's paying attention to anything. So let's see. Very bad family issues makes me very sad. They don't want to be around me. No, because you're of light now. Once you go through an awakening, you're light. And like I said, unenlightened people don't like your light, family or not. So I just found out a dear friend is in hospice care 2 days before I was told. That was astral traveling, Mary. That is correct. You were. Yep, that is absolutely true. How do you view mental health issues? Is it spiritually based and medication, or is it good for us? You know what? Yes, it is good. At first I had to really stop and think about that, because here's the deal. Medication is enough to get you balanced so we can keep your head above water, so we can work on the core issue. Once you work on the core issue, then we can start unmedicating slowly. So nothing in this world is random. If you understand that, nothing is. So people that have depression issues, a lot of times have an abandonment issue by one or both parents. So if somebody's bipolar, if it's a male, 9 times out of 10, it's because they have a mother abandonment issue. So if it's a female, it's because they have a father abandonment issue. So there is nothing wrong with using medication to be able to help keep your head above water so you can work on those core issues. Because again, if you work on the core issues and you look at how you were raised, and then you were able to look at how your parents were raised, then you're able to forgive your parents for what they don't know due to their ignorance. And then you can look, and then you weirdly get sad. You're just like, wow, I feel sad for you guys, because now I see how I was raised and I forgive you for that. But it's still really sad that you don't get it. And I'm like, they might not, and that's okay. So, but that's not your job to fix them. Your job is to fix you. So that's your job. So, and like I said, I don't think it absolutely has any negative side effects whatsoever. We got to keep your head above water so we can fix the core issue. So, but without that, you're riding a wave. I'm like, well, you're just focused on holding on to the boat at that point. You can't fix anything. So I think that medication is needed for certain points in time. Absolutely. So, but again, remember, you can't really advance spiritually if you're not working on those core issues anyway. So yeah, I see where it can, some people can sit there and say, well, it could be a ceiling effect. Well, sure, it can be. But again, if you're not dealing with that core issue, well, then you're not really necessarily going to spiritually advance anyhow. So, and I'll tell you, that shadow work stuff, that's no joke. That stuff, it's hardcore and it hurts. It really, really does. So thinking seeing orbs around you, a lot of people do. So whenever I do these Q&As, I don't know why. They always fly over all over. Yes, thank you, Claudine. So I keep seeing 555. Yeah, Kimberly, that means change is on its way. And that very well could be positive change. Don't assume that it's bad. So 555 means that change is on the way. So cause of autoimmune disease, Kendra, that is 2 viral issues. So if you have 2 viral issues in your lifetime, after that second major viral issue, 2 years after the second viral issue is usually when autoimmune then appears or happens. Having right ear pain. La, 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 la. Christy, here's what's weird is I'm going to suggest to you maybe consider getting a chiropractic adjustment, because I think where you're describing at most unlikely is a pinched nerve. So I would maybe even consider that. Hearing bells, Rhonda, that just means that clairaudience of yours is kicking in. I will tell you that when mine first started kicking in, it was a little weird because I kept hearing church bells, and I was looking around like, why is church going off on a Tuesday? I thought that was so strange. And then I remember Paige coming up the stairs, and I said, hey, Paige, do you hear church bells? And she was like, no, why? Because I am. So, or it sounds like the doorbell, or just weird crap. So that just, again, that's your clairaudience kicking in gear. And she came back, woke up, 4 days, passed away, never off the ventilator. What does that mean? That is, Liz, that's really common. When somebody is close to death, a lot of times 2 days to a few hours before they're ready to cross over, they kind of come to and have a lucid moment, and they're able to communicate. And then when they fall back asleep, they just go home. So that's actually really common. You know what? I don't know. People have been capturing photographs of snowy owls a lot in Nebraska. I don't know, but I know that owls are very significant to the spirit world, especially when it comes to relaying messages, or they are the messenger. It very well could also, if you're noticing them more often than not, it could be also part of your animal totem, or like an animal spirit guide of yours as well. So on average, we have like one bird, one insect, and one mammal spirit guide. And so if you want to find out what it is, all you do is just ask God to show you. Just say, hey, God, I want to see what my spirit mammal is, or my spirit insect. So yeah. Hear my dead dog barking. Yep, that's clairaudience. Absolutely. Will people come through during a reading if you haven't talked to them in a long time? Yep, they always come through. It's a rare bird if I can't get a hold of somebody. I mean, I'll tell you, in the thousands of readings that I've done, like all over the world, I've only had 4 that I'm like, we're gonna have to come back later. So how do you know if you have clairsentience? You're an empath. An empath is it's a form of clairsentience. So clairsentience is the ability to feel other people's pain, or feel their joy, or feel their emotion. That's kind of what that is. So it's the feeling part. I will tell you, I have asked for that ability of mine to be kind of shut down, for the simple fact that I don't want to feel. I'd rather see it and hear it and know it. I don't need to feel it. The only time I really need to feel it is if I'm, needing to find a body or something like that. So I usually don't like to use that because, well, it hurts and it uses a lot more energy. I had a black female cat and a white cat show up strays. That's cool, Andrea. So that just means to tell me, they're yours. Let's see. Michelle, she blown away to viruses, autoimmune. Michelle, I'm going to have you read the book, Medical Medium by Anthony Williams. Great book, especially with autoimmune stuff. So I was so happy when I finally got a hold of that book, because I'm like, finally, somebody that gets it like I do. Like, he sees it like I do too. So, but in there, he has some more herbs and remedies that may be able to help you with the symptoms of the autoimmune stuff. So, do I believe in the New World Order? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Obviously I don't agree with it, but yes, it's a thing. How do I know if I'm having a precog dream or something needing interpretation? Look those up, Aaron. So look them up. There's a lot of different sites on Google that you could find. So, but just make sure that you always look up the meanings behind your dreams, because that is Spirit's way of having you look at something that is more subconscious that you might need to bring to the surface. So, and how they make sense of that is beyond me. Like, I had a dream about spiders, right? Spiders are representative of your mother and having issues with your mom. And I'm like, how do spiders in your mom? I like, so I don't know. So that's when I'm like, I got to look that stuff up, but I have no clue with dream stuff. I'm like, I would like to know how they interpret that. Where are they on just like taking a bunch of mushrooms and going, hey, let's do some dream interpretations? And they're right. Like, how do they do that? It's amazing to me. Amber, the 2 white butterflies, sometimes that's representative of angels. Other times that could be representative of like a grandma or a daughter or a mother that you may have lost, or 2 females. Is it normal for the Clairs you have to change? Yes. Yes, it is. I'm the weirdo that has all 5. So I have all 5 of those psychic abilities, but depending on the situation, you might have, your clairvoyance go on more versus say your clairsentient. And it honestly depends on the chakra. So because each chakra is associated with a different clair. So for instance, if you're having issues with your throat chakra, you've got maybe some, a sore throat. Well, most than likely your clairaudient, or your ability to hear, probably isn't going to be that well for that day, because that's the chakra it's associated with. So this is the 3rd eye chakra that's associated with your clairvoyance. So the clairsentient is your heart chakra. The claircognizant is your gut. That's your solar plexus. So each chakra has an emotion that's also tied to that. So, and I talked about that in a video here that I did on YouTube. It's all about chakras. So I did talk about that. Like, for instance, your root chakra deals with fear, deals with survival, and it's blocked by fear. So, let's see here. Can I tell the difference between a dream and a premonition? Yes, because a premonition weirdly has feelings to it. A dream usually doesn't. Premonitions usually have feelings to it, and like your human senses get engaged in a dream state, but in a regular dream state, you usually don't. So my throat tightens around certain people. Mine too. It just means honestly, when that happens to me, I shut up and listen. I'm like, don't say anything, just listen. And as soon as that happens, it never fails. They will say something that just counterdicted exactly what they said in the first sentence. And I'm like, I see the game. I see the game. How do you know if your chakras are out of balance? Pain. I mean, honestly. So if your chakra system is in alignment, you're not sick at all. So if it's out of alignment, you're going to know it based on where that chakra is located at. So like I said, that's one that you would, if you go back and watch that chakra video, I explain all that. Let's see here. I have a Great Dane service dog. At night, he looks confused and won't go to bed. Corey, I would tell you, might not be a bad idea to sage your house or sage around your place just a little bit to make sure that any residual energy is out of there, and to make sure that you got a nice buffer zone. So I will tell you, I like to sage. I probably sage here twice a week. So, but I also have 2 teenagers here, and they like friends. So I probably sage here about every 2 weeks, but really the best time to sage is on a new moon, and we put our crystals out on a full moon. Let's see. I have sunspots on top of my hand, the perfect shape of an 8. That's an infinity symbol, Charlene. Ha, not an 8, infinity. Let's see here. All of a sudden I feel extreme sense of fear, not sure what causes that. That's called anxiety. And I'll tell you, people fear what they don't understand or what they can't control. And I understood a long time ago, I have no control over anything. Nothing. The only thing I ever have control over is what I do, what I think, what I say, and how I react. That's it. It's all I have control over. I am in control of nothing else. And once you relinquish that control and roll with it, life is easy. Life is so much easier. You just take one day at a time. Yes, you have your goals, ambitions, and dreams, but you're not necessarily hyper focused on it. You're still living your life. Your vibration is still high. You're happy doing the daily things that you normally would be doing, without really worrying about control. Like I said, there's only one person really in control, and that ain't me. So like I said, all I can do is control what I say, do, think, react. That's it. That's it. When I have a dream of my late BF, he doesn't talk at all. It depends on if he's dead or alive, but either way, usually if you're still having dreams about boyfriend, 9 times out of 10, it's because you're in a relationship with these and you're reacting or acting the same way as you did in that relationship with him. So a lot of times if you're having dreams about exes, it is because that you are going through something in your reality. It's the same lesson that was presented here is beginning to present itself over here. So a lesson will continue to repeat itself until you understand it. And when I mean understand it, I mean understand all freaking aspects of it. So no, if you wear multiple crystal bracelets, do they cancel each other out? Absolutely not. So he's past Betty. So that just means to tell me you're naturally clairvoyant and you are not naturally clairaudient. So most unlikely, he's not talking to you because you can't hear him. What do you recommend for childhood trauma? A lot of times, I'm gonna tell you, counseling is great, really. But again, look at how your parents were raised by their parents. Look at that. So, and that 9 times out of 10 will really help you kind of be able to put more of a focus on it so you can forgive it and let it go. And that's, like I said, that stuff's not easy to do. It's not. How do I feel about the Tesla manifestation method? Yep. Makes sense to me. 1, 3, 6, 9, 12. I see it all the time. That is a pattern I see all the time. So I absolutely think it's a great manifestation method. Sure, you bet. So I know people a lot of times that will even, on their cell phones, stick an alarm on there to help them manifest something too. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but the Tesla method seems to be a little bit more repetitive. And I think a lot of people need that. So I like that method. I really do. Let's see. I've bought so many bracelets at Awakenings. I don't know which one to tell which one I need. Melinda, what I do, here's the deal. Let me give you a hint. People wear the color of the chakra that they are the weakest in. So I'm wearing kind of a purple gray today. I am not wearing any other crystals. And I am not doing readings today, but I'm wearing purple. Clearly, my crown chakra and my third eye needed to stabilize a little bit. That's why I picked this color. So you're going to pick the color of the chakra that you need to balance out. So a lot of women have the tendency to grab their clothing and then grab a crystal to match it. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with that because you're already wearing the color that you need to balance your certain chakra out. So if you get a crystal to match it, great. It's just going to amplify it. So crystal for higher meditation, anything white, clear, gold, any of those. So I like, rutilated quartz, gold rutilated quartz, clear quartz, selenite, anything like that's great. Apophyllite, any of those good ones. And remember, if you're going to meditate with a crystal, you want to try to hold it in that left hand. Left hand is receiving. If you are meditating for somebody's healing or for their health, we want to do it the right hand. Right hand is giving, going out. Daughter and I say the same things at the same time, dress the same unknowingly. So that very well, Betty, means that you guys could be soulmates just because people don't realize that friends can be soulmates. Mothers and daughters can be soulmates. So same soul families as well. So that's why they're called family ties. You guys are all connected. That's why, with an etherical cord. So, but absolutely, that just means to tell me that you guys most unlikely are so well bonded that your cord that bonds the two of you is very, very thick. And so if she gets like a buzz on her end, you're going to get that same buzz and vice versa. So it's normal. Let's see. Why do I piss people off without even trying, Amy? Because you're enlightened. People that vibe high piss unenlightened people off all the time. I can sit there. I will sit there at a party, and the most unenlightened, egoic one will come to me in a party and call me a suck-up bitch. Happens every time. So, or they call me intimidating. Wow, you're really intimidating. I'm like, I'm not intimidating. You're weak. I know who I am, and I know my connection to God, and that at a soul level scares the living hell out of you. And it should, because you should know your connection too. You just forgot. So, but yeah, I have that a lot. I get called stuck up B. I got called intimidating all the time. Like I said, it's always the most egoic one. And you know, the most egoic one are the ones like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm like, no, you ain't. No, you ain't. Because if you were, you wouldn't be egoic about it. You wouldn't be bragging about it. You wouldn't have to tell everybody that you are, because they would be able to feel it. They'd be able to see it if you were. So those are the ones that usually then come into me and call me stuck up, rude, intimidating, whatever the case may be. And a lot of times I just sit there and I'm like, you got to forgive them, because they're just idiots. They're just ignorant and they don't know any better. But a lot of times I just sit back and let them yap. It gets entertaining after a while. Never fit in with my family. Neither have I, Jamie. So most of the misfits don't. Most of us misfits are here on the chat bar. We're like, me right here. Yeah. Yep. Let's see. So I've been sick since I started my new job. A lot of voice throat stuff. Is it my body telling me this isn't the job for me? It's either that, M, or you are just having to feel perfect at this job. So it might be perfectionism issue on your part, but if that's the case and you don't like your job, quit. I don't know why people would stay at a job for 8 hours a day, which is more than half of the day that they're awake, at a job that they absolutely despise. I'm like, why? Why waste your life that way? There are plenty of other jobs out there to give you a better shot at happiness than to stay at a job just because of the damn money and the insurance. There's other jobs out there. So brush up the resume, sprinkle it around, see what happens. We'll do a few more questions here. Let's see. I already talked about the aura, and I talked about spirit animals already earlier. Is it hard to make new friends? Now I can't deal with people like I used to. You will. When you get to stage 4, you'll find your tribe. I promise you, you will. But it's a weird little rite of passage to go through this alone. Alone for a little bit. Not very long, but just a little bit. So, but like I said, it's all good. It's all good. They'll come to you. They'll find you. So, and then the last one is I find it hard to lose weight. Any tips? Yes, Ruth, my empaths always struggle with this. And it's because you guys naturally vibe at a high energy level. People around you don't. They suck you dry. And at the end of the day, you are exhausted and your body holds on to all that extra fat, thinking that it's going to need it for the next day when you run out of energy too. So, like I said, a lot of times I have to tell people, I'm like, you know what? Don't be such an empath. Say no. Don't help them unless they're willing to help you. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. My husband just got here. And I haven't eaten yet. The kids got slices of pizza before me, and I didn't want to have it in all my teeth. So, but like I said, I want to thank everybody for attending. I am having Enlightenment Academy, which is I'm teaching the next generation of psychic mediums and healers. So if you're interested in that, check that out at psychickelli.com. I believe I'm about halfway sold out on that. That's about mid-February, end of February there. So otherwise, if you haven't signed up for my newsletter, head to psychickelli.com. Of course, subscribe to my YouTube channel, but I'll be doing a lot more Q&As here next year, guys. I want to do at least, like I said, 3 a month. So on 3 different platforms, on YouTube, on Facebook, and also on Instagram. All right, guys? So have a wonderful Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas, guys. God bless. Have a good Christmas. Bye.